class. Today we're looking at Chapter 4, Lesson 3, Writing Rules for Linear Functions. So a business owner can calculate the cost of a toll-free number if she can write a rule for the function. Just as you can translate words to an equation, you can also relate words to a function rule. Be sure to identify the input and the output. So, write a function from words. A toll-free telephone number is $2.95 a month plus 10 cents per minute. Write a function rule to represent the monthly cost. So we want to come up with the monthly cost. And that's going to equal $2.95 plus 10 cents times the number of minutes. So let's have X represent the number of minutes, and that's going to be the input. And then Y is the monthly cost, and that's going to be the output. So however many minutes go in affect the monthly cost, and that's what comes out, the output. So our equation should be, or our function, Y equals $2.95 plus 10 cents, so we'll turn that into just a decimal, X. Okay. So the initial value, or y-intercept, of the function of $2.95, which represents the initial cost, so right, this was what it initially costs. The rate of change, or slope, of the function is 0.10, which represents the cost per minute. So really, if we were going to put this in y-intercept form, we almost should switch it around. So it would be y equals 0.10x plus 2.95. So right, this is the slope, and this is the y-intercept, where it crosses or where it starts. So when x is 0, it's at 2.95. So let's try another one. See if you can figure this one out on your own, and then come back to me when you're done. An orchestra buys music stands for $42 each, with $298 in the bank account. Write a function rule that shows how the account balance depends on the number of stands bought. What are the initial value and rate of change of the function? See what you figure out and then come back. Okay, so you should have come up with, I put B, and B equals the account balance, and S stands for stands. So B equals 298 minus 42S. The initial value was $298, and the rate of change, oops, I forgot the E there, is $42, the cost of one stand. So now let's look at writing a rule from a table. So this table shows the water level of a lake over time, comparing it to its average water level. Write a function rule. what are the initial values and rate of change? So the first thing we need to do is find the slope. So let's look at what 2 points on the table are going to be. So let's just use 0 and 10 and 2 and 7. So if we know those 2 points, 0 and 10, 2 and 7, we're going to first look at our y and then our x. Y goes on top. So let's go 7 minus 10 over 2 minus 0. And that's going to equal negative 3 over 2. So that is our slope. Now, what is the y-intercept? So y-intercept is when what does y equal when x equals 0? So if we look up at our chart, x equals 0, y equals 10. So our y-intercept is a positive 10. So we can then put it into a function rule. And we've just got to memorize this. It's always y equals the slope, negative 3 over 2x plus 10. Okay, so let's go ahead and check this next one. See if you can figure out how to do this one on your own. So the table shows the number of inches of snow that fell during a snowstorm. Write a function rule. What are the initial values and rate of change? See if you can figure it out. Come back to me when you're done. Okay, so this one was a little bit tricky because it didn't show us when x equaled 0 in the chart, but it did tell us that it was talking about inches that fell during a snowstorm. And you can see that if it was 1.5, so I took 2 points on the chart. So here's the 3, here's the 4.5, this is the 6, 9. I subtracted the y's first, so 9 minus 4.5, 6 minus 3. That gave me 4.5 over 3, so I went ahead and divided it and got 1.5. So that's going to be the slope, the rate of change. And if that was in 3 hours, then we know that it is 1.5 inches per hour, because 3 equals 4.15. So we started out with no snow, so the initial value is 0, and the rate of change is 1.5. So we don't have a plus or a minus after this because it started at 0. So really our graph, here's 0, that's where it started. And so then, 3 hours in, it was at 4.5, 6 hours, 9, and it's just a steady 1.5 increase. But it started right here at 0, so therefore there is not the plus or minus after that. Be sure you're pretty comfortable with these steps, because your IXL is going to be looking at a table and coming up with the slope, okay? The slope and the y-intercept. Review this again if you have questions. So now let's look at writing an equation from a graph. So write a graph rule. What is Malik's base salary? How much does he earn in commission for each car he sells? So we're going to want to come up with 2 points on the graph. So let's do this one. So when x is 0, y is 10,000. And then let's look at this one. So if this is 10, 8, 6, so when x is 6, that is, oh, and look at it even gave the points for us here. I was trying to come up with it on our own. But it showed us right there, 6 and 14,500. So we're going to do the y over x. So 14,500 minus 10,000 over 6 minus 0. So that's going to leave us 4,500 over 6. And if we were to divide that out, so 6 goes into 4,500, 750 times. So now that we know that, we can look at a few things. So this is the slope. And then we can see that when x is 0, y is 10,000. So that's the y-intercept. So our equation is going to be y equals 750x plus 10,000. So it asked, how much does he earn in commission for each car he sells? Well, that's the slope. So commission equals 750. And then it also asked us, what is Malik's base salary? Well, his base salary is going to be what it starts with. So his base salary equals $10,000. Okay. See if you can do the height of the snowman on your own. This graph shows a snowman over time. Write a function rule. What is the initial height and what is the rate of change of his height over time? Press pause, try it out, come back to me when you're done. Okay, so you should have found the 2 points, 0, 9, and 7, 5.5. Subtract the y's, subtract the x's. I got negative 3.5 over 7, reduced that to negative 1/2. And so my equation, or my function, is y equals negative 1/2 x plus 9. So my initial height was 9 feet. My rate of change was negative 1/2 feet per hour. So your homework for tonight is going to be page 130 and 131, numbers 1 through 13 odd. Happy homeworking!